Scott, we'll start in the treatment room, shall we? How's everybody doing? We saw, obviously, MJ Williams come out of the game at half-time last week.
Yeah, MJ's had a scan, he's got a bit of an hamstring problem there, so he's going to probably be missing certainly this weekend, if not a little bit longer term. We have Tom Carroll back in training, Sam Sherrin back in training. Who else? Nico Lawrence back in training. So we've got a couple of numbers back in, but we lose obviously MJ. So yeah, we seem to be getting some back and then some kind of going. So which is why we have a squad.
It's a disappointing for MJ, isn't it? Because he was starting to look like he was really comfortable in that centre half position, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he did really well. Certainly in the game he played 90 minutes, and then obviously on Saturday, the time that he was on the pitch, I thought he looked like probably one of the most, or certainly the player that looked like he had the bit between his teeth within the time he was on the pitch. So yeah, it was obviously disappointing to lose him. But it seems to be the norm at the moment. You know, we seem to be kind of like, say, we get some back and then we lose some. So we've just got to make sure that we get through. We get through Saturday and we've got a little bit of a rest. So hopefully we can get some rest into the players and hopefully we see some more back.
And I think we've mentioned the likes of Nico Lawrence and Tom Carroll in previous interviews, and having them back is a huge boost, isn't it? Because again, those two were looking like they were knocking on the door of becoming pretty regulars in your side.
Yeah, for sure. I think Nico, he played 2 games, didn't he, in a row, and I think before the Grimsby game we were planning on him playing in that game, and then he pulled out of the training session before with a hamstring. So yeah, it was disappointing, and TC obviously picked quite a bad ankle injury up. But I know for a fact worked really hard to get back in. So I'm really pleased to add them to the squad.
And obviously Sam being out the last couple of weeks with illness, I think certainly myself and a lot of the supporters don't really know what Sam Sherring's about yet, because he's been in and out of the side a few times and sort of had a stuttering start to life at MK Dons. Yeah,
it's been stop-start for Sam, hasn't it? And again, got into the side and was doing well. And then out of nowhere, kind of got this illness. He spent pretty much a week in bed. He's trained this week. Will Saturday be too soon for him? We'll have to wait and see. Again, we train today, again tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we've got to be mindful that he spent a week in bed and not done anything. So, we have to take that into account. He didn't lose loads of weight, actually. Within that time, so that was one kind of positive from that. But yeah, we've got to be mindful that he's not done a lot.
Everybody at the moment is talking about your winning streaks, 5 in a row in the league. Is that something that you guys talk about behind the scenes as well, or is it just you're just focusing on momentum, just focusing on the next game, and just focusing on winning irrespective of what's come before?
Well, we always talk about winning. I think it's important that we talk about positive things, and we talk about promotion, we talk about winning, a lot. I think what's important that we carry on that. What we don't want to do is think that because we've won 5, it's okay to lose the 6th, because it's not. Why can't we go and win the next 5? And that's what I'm trying to instill in the players, is that winning mentality, to continue it. And the players, I've got to be honest with you, since I've been here, have been outstanding. They've taken a lot of information on. They seem to be getting used to the way I want them to train now every day. The tempo is probably slightly different from what was here before, no problem. But they're working extremely hard to get up to scratch. And I think you can see in the performances that we're seeing improvements in probably their levels. But yeah, the players have been class, I've got to be honest with you.
Where do you think is the biggest area that they've improved since you've taken over?
I just think kind of off the ball stuff than on the ball. I think before it was clear to see that they could have pretty much the possession in every game and hold that possession. I think off the ball I've kind of given them something else to think about, how I want us to look in terms of how we press, how we defend. Albeit we've not kept a clean sheet, but I think that if you look at all the data on on the defensive aspect of the game. We've improved since or certainly since I've been here.
That's it. I mean, clean sheets weren't a regular commodity here even before. So.
No, but we want to get there. We want to get to that. And at the moment, we've not had one, but we do feel that XG against hasn't been too bad. There's only been 2 games in the 9 games that I've had where the XG differential's been a negative for us. So yeah, that's a plus. So yeah, I think kind of off the ball and the aggressive nature to win a game, even kind of the attitude, I think's been improved. You saw us go 2-0 down on Saturday and bring it back to 3-2. Now that can only happen if the younger's there from the lads, and obviously that was clear to see on Saturday.
And those sorts of things must please you, that the side that you took over compared to the side you have now.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, you want to see improvements all the time. I think there is improvements there, definitely. Albeit I wasn't over infused by the performance in many ways. But that's me being a grumpy old man. And you know, I always want more, but I can't fault the lads. I really can't, even though I do. I can't, because the grit and determination and attitude to come back from a 2-0 down or a 2-0 deficit in the game is fantastic. But I had to work really hard in order for that to happen. You know, as a manager, I'm thinking about changing the shape. I'm thinking about putting more forwards on the pitch. And in my opinion, we shouldn't be doing that in any game at home. We should be playing our way and playing our formation, our style. And we should never get too far away from that. But when we are a 2-goal deficit, we have to tinker and move things about in order for us to get the result.
It's an important attribute to have as well, isn't it? To have that tenacity and to have that character, to not let that deficit threaten to spiral the whole game out of control.
Well, I come in at half time and had a few choice words to say about, and not just kind of singly, but just collectively as a group. I felt that the tempo of the game wasn't there. You know, there was no, you know, we didn't pass forward enough. I remember we had a free kick in the opposition's half, and we end up making 4 backwards passes. And when we have a throw in, we throw it backwards, and we end up back with the goalkeeper too many times. And of course, we take so long on goal kicks and throw-ins and things like that. And when you're losing a game, you need to hurry that up a little bit. And I just was really honest at half time and said a few choice words. And I think the players actually sat there and agreed. And yeah, we need to be quicker. We need to be better. We need to be more kind of forward thinking. And if I've got an honest group like I know I have, it can be easily fixed, which it was. And second half they went out and played with more aggression to play forward and you know and step forward and play with a bit more tempo. So that was a pleasing thing that they had that about them to change it quickly.
There's a time and a place, isn't there, to play that slower style of football.
Yeah, when you're winning.
When you're winning, yeah. when you're 2-0 up and doing it that way. But like you say, that it feels like it's been a problem for many years that it has been too slow when they're trying to do this style of play. But you obviously want that to be a lot faster than it has been.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line, but like possession-based teams can get labelled with 2 things. Usually it can be labelled with slow and boring, and it can also get labelled with having a soft underbelly. What I want is to change the narrative on that and to not be soft. Be totally aggressive and tread all over the opposition we're playing against. No disrespect, but that's what I want. And also to have a pace about how we play. You know, there's times in a game, like you say, where a centre-half, I'm happy for the centre-half to stand on the ball and kind of draw the pressure and then play through that pressure over it or around it. But that depends on scorelines and depends on state of game. And if we're losing, there's no play for that. We need to play through the lines quickly. And sometimes a centre-back or goalkeeper needs to step forward with the ball quicker and make them passes, you know, quicker. And also the people off the ball need to run harder into spaces to find positions to help the person out on the ball. So yeah, I want to be possession-based. I want to have all the ball all the time, but I want to be really aggressive with it. And sometimes the opposition doesn't allow you to do that. The opposition can block up and bank up and stop spaces and stop passing lines and make it very difficult for the person on the ball. So that's when we end up turning around and going back to Tom. because we can't see the wood for the trees, but we've got to be better. And it's not just always the person on the ball, it's the people off the ball that need to work harder to find spaces. And it's something that, I've been big on, something that I've worked hard on with the players. And we're not always going to get it right, but I know for a fact the players are really trying hard to get it right.
And someone who will be trying to stop you do that is Fleetwood. They're coming into this game in a decent run in the league. It's kind of been patchy overall, but it's always a tough place to go, isn't it, Fleetwood?
Yeah, it is. I don't know Charlie Adam, but I'm looking forward to meeting him. He was obviously a very good player, and I think looking at and watching his side play, I think he's a good coach because they look really organised and efficient. That's what I would call them, really organised and efficient. They have some good players, and they look like they know what they're doing, And I think you're right. I think it's been a bit bitty in terms of their results. They're probably in a false position. Long way to go in terms of travel, but we've been good on the road of late, so we're really looking forward to the game. And again, it's another game for us to attack.
It's, as you mentioned there, it's still very, very early stages, and people like me writing about it will look at the league table and say, oh, you're a point off the automatic promotion spots, and we've still got 3/4 of the season to go. But psychologically, does it make a difference if you're in and around that fight?
Yeah, probably. I want to be top of the league every week. If I could, I'd be number one. Every week we're in the season. I know we when we come in, we were a little bit behind the 8 ball. We had to play catch up, which we have done pretty well. 9 games we've had in the league, and we've already won kind of 6. So even if we drop points on Saturday, we've still got a 60% win ratio, which is probably title winning form. But of course, I'm not naive enough to think that it's always going to be that easy. It probably isn't, and we've got a long way to go, like you say. So we have to try and win every game, or at least try and pick up as many points as we can. Because I firmly believe that we're capable of winning promotion this year with this group of players, and I think it's clear to see that what we've done over the last 9 games, we're more than capable of doing that.
And certainly doing it on the road as well, because I think that's probably one of the biggest changes that the supporters will point out is what you've done on the road. Yeah,
I've got no issues with on the road now. I think we put that to bed at Harrogate, and we've gone on and won at other places as well now, so that's not an issue anymore. And hopefully it won't become an issue moving forward. I think that's one of the monkeys off our back we got off early. So we put that to bed, and now we're moving forward with that. So yeah, we quite like being on the road. I think we've played a lot of games at home of late, so it'd be nice to get on the coach, and have an away game. And no better place than a big journey. So it is what it is, and we look forward to it.
And finally, a word for the travelling fans. It is a monster journey, but normally a decent weekender up in Fleetwood. And I imagine, they've been very loud on the road this season. I imagine they'll be exactly the same Saturday. Yeah, looking forward to coming out and showing my appreciation for them that are travelling. It's Christmas round the corner, and I'm sure families and people are trying to save their money for Christmas, and it's a lot of money to get all the way up there and buy your ticket to watch us, and so we definitely will show our appreciation, and I appreciate them anyway, and hopefully we'll send them down the road with 3 points.